Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. Let's discuss about Shunya Yantra, which I call this particular symbol. The divine design of nature, the zero, the sun, Mother Earth and moon. All the four are represented in this. There is much more in this than you can even dream of. Now, a divine mystery, which I call it, the stone carving Ashila was found in Ayodhya Ram Janmabhoomi from debris. Everyone wondered about the central 13 lotus petals and outer 29 lotus petals. How was 360 degrees circle divided by the odd number 13 and 29 by the ancient Indian? This was the question. And unfortunately, no mathematician, no architect, no engineer, no individual answered that question after it was dug, and it's a big history. And I'm surprised that not even one person knows about it. And the simple answer is Shatabda Brahmana, written by Maharishi Yajnavalkya 5000 years ago, had described how to use thread and rope method to convert anything into symbolic representation. And I do take pride in saying that ancient Indian sages who wrote Ved and Upanishads were great mathematicians, great artists, great physicists, great chemists, and great in every scientific aspect. Unfortunately, Ved Upanishads, the real scientific mathematical beauty, is not known to the world, and people call it babbling and infancy civilization, is the greatest thing which can be considered for anything. And I can tell you, anybody who calls Ved and Upanishads as a babbling of infancy and infantile thought is definitely not worth consideration as a human being itself. Now come to the question of, do you see any divine mathematics in this? Is the question for the day. And I said zero, sun, moon, Mother Earth, and almost all the universal consciousness is this particular symbol itself. It's the greatest work whosoever has done, but I am sorry to say nobody has done, and I get the pleasure to give it a name as a Shunya Yantra itself. Now come to the question of this. Let us discuss this concept step by step to understand the beauty of this particular symbol. Now you see inner one circle there. You can say it right at the dot which I put as white central part. That's the first thing which stands out in this. We are starting from right in the that. And that is a dot, that is a shunya, that is zero, and from that everything has come. That was divine mathematics. It started from zero, is maintained by zero, sustained by zero, it dissolved into zero. I think the greatest statement of Sanatana Dharma is only that. Now come to the question of that. Now 0 is 1, Shunya is 1, dot is 1. Now comes to the question as a manifested form, it is Aditya. And Chandogya Upanishad in 3rd chapter says very clearly, Aditya Brahmate Adesha. That means sun is a Sakar Brahman. This is the teaching. And I do agree that whole concept for me to become a perfect human being is just observe the sun since my childhood. I just follow the principles on which sun works. It's a discipline, it knows, gives it, he doesn't need anything, and but for sun, life will be impossible on the earth. And that is the greatest thing which I know. And I also know my Antaratma, the indwelling soul, is made of helium-4. If Aditya is hydrogen, helium is Antaratma produced in the sun with a 6000 degree, and that is what makes me in tune within myself and outside with sun totally as one. And I see Shunya, I see dot, I see zero, everything from there is maintained by Aditya, is disturbed by Aditya, and as long as Aditya is there, life will be wonderful on earth. Otherwise, sorry, not possible. Now there comes the question of dot. There is a big statement in the mathematical world, did Aryabhatta invent zero? And that is the biggest thing, and this picture is very clear on that particular concept. Now, the impeccable wisdom which I am talking, most important discovery in the world is zero. Who discovered the foundation of zero first is a big question mark which has been in the mathematics for Generations. Now let me tell you one thing. The mathematicians who invented zero, Aryabhata is the Vedic, Vedic says is a statement you can see. No one can invent zero. Zero is the divine soul. Everything starts from zero. And once you know that Atma is Paramatma, everything is zero, only the round figure, 22 by 21, that's it. And Rig Ved considers zero as Atma and Shunya, and that's it. Now come to the question of Atma. The primordial divine soul, Sanatana Dharma says, is the universal soul. The soul cannot be cut, cannot be burnt, cannot be dissolved. It's indestructible, insoluble, integrated, indistinguishable, inexhaustible, eternal. Everything in the universe can come from it, everything in the universe will go back to it, everything will be maintained by it. And I do know all the noble gases, whether it's helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon or astatine, they all represent the Shunya, zero, and everything comes from there and goes back to that. That the entire chemistry centers only on that, and that is what I am trying to explain. That is the beauty of Rig Veda. Now come to the question of statement in Upanishads. Brihad Upanishad is the greatest Upanishad which I know. It is written by Maharishi Yajnavalkya, and there is a statement in this: Purna Adha Purna Idham Purna Purnata Adhishte Purnasya Purnam Adhyay Purnasya Eva Vishishate. That means the general perception is this is full, that is full, from fullness comes fullness. If we take away fullness from fullness, the fullness remains zero. It's the greatest statement I have ever seen in any shlok, which made me understand divine mathematics very clearly. My earnestness is that the whole thing is about nature, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, all thing is 0, 0, 0, and that is Purnam, that is Sampurnam, and I call that as a Akhand. Everything from Akhand comes, is maintained by Akhand, is a totality is 0 only, and this particular thing, let's understand it. Now come to the same shloka is found in Isha Upanishad also. Now I am going, as explained by Shiv Bhushan Sharma, that's me. 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 divided by 0. All other number divided by the same number is into 1. But in the case of 0, it's not 1, it is only 0. And that is unique number of Shunya and 0. As such, if once this is understood, you know infinity, you know everything once for all. That is unique part of 0, dot or otherwise. Now come to the central question. We have talked about the 0, we have finished with 0, we have talked about sun as such on that particular thing. Let me add there again. It is not only sun which is round, this is 0. Earth is also round, it is called Bhugol. It's a round earth, and so is the moon. So are all the planets. Because every shunya, everything is there in all the planet, all the objects which are going around itself in the ratio of 22 by 21 or 21 into 21, and that is 0 or object form. That is what the universal is. The hydrogen could be 22 by 21 and helium could be 21 into 21. That's it. So now come to the question of 0. You are going to go to number 7, which is the most occult number in nature. Now we are going to understand the beauty of 7, how I have understood it as such. Now come to the question, the impeccable wisdom of 7. Let me share my dialogue with the voice of silence, Aditi, which is within me. And I know I follow only Aditi, my Antaratma, because it is perfect, it is Atma, it knows everything, it doesn't need anything from anybody. I don't need to get an answer from any other person because my Antaratma can give me all the answers because it's come from nature, it's sustained by nature, it will go back to nature. Entire knowledge is known to Aditi itself. It knows the source, it knows the process, and I make it very, very clear that my answers come only from my indwelling soul, not from any other source. Every other book on the world is sectional or defective. Now comes the question of Divyank. In this particular picture, you have seen the picture of Divyank, which is 22 by 21 to the power of 10.34419, equivalent to that, and this symbolic representation, and this is what it is, everything essence is there. But how it is, we are going to see as we move on. Now comes to the question of this particular picture, I've shown you 10 centers in solar system. Now, first symbol represents the 10 parts, the sun, the dot, and the 9 planets. That is how Atma told me there are 10 things, not 7 chakras, there are 10 chakras, which are precise, concise. You can see within your body, you can see in the solar system, you can see in spiral galaxy, you can see the entire universe sent only on 10 power of that. And then 10 bodies you can see in this particular very clearly, and they have the effect on the human being as such. Now comes to the question of making of the symbol to understand 7 very clearly. So I was made to make a circle from a dot, center is dot is the sun, and then 9, divide that into 9 parts, as you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and center is 1. So there are 10 parts in this. So that 1 leading to 9 is the whole mathematics started, and the 10th becomes 0 as 1 by 0. Then 2 by 0, 20, 3 by 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 100, then could be 1000, could be 10,000, could be 1 lakh, etc., etc., goes on. Now comes to the question of another thing which is very important in Sanatana Dharma. It talks of Navagraha, 9 planets. In this picture you can see very clearly 7 days plus Rahu and Ketu. I think that makes it very clear. But the question is, who is Rahu, who is Ketu? In that is not known. I am going to show you the 7, but then explain what Rahu and Ketu is as I move on that particular process. But the question is, same 0 plus 9 or 9 or 10, and this is going to explain how beautifully the symbols and temples and other things were made by the Brahmins of Rigveda and Upanishads. Now comes the question science. I make one thing very clear. If 1 is divided by 7 is equivalent to 0.142857. That's it. It is no other number is perfect. Just divide by 1 by 7, you come to 0.142857. After that, the same 142857 will continue. So remain is 6 only, that particular number. What is interesting in this particular concept, the 6 are there, 3, 6 and 9 are missing. Why they are missing, we will explain as I move on. But the question is, first let's understand 7. Now come to the question of connection of 7. 1 divided is 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7 and 1. That's how the whole structure was. 1 connected with 4, 4 to 2, 2 to 8, 8 to 5, 5 to 7, 7 to 1. Once that picture is done, you are very clear that you see 5-sided structure in the center. You can see the sun and you can see 4 triangles as such and other structure. I think this is beautiful, take shape. How beautiful is the symbolic language used by the ancient mathematicians and understood by Shibhushan Sharma as such. Now come to the question of understanding 7. There are 7 days in the world. Right in the center you can see Sunday, which is connected with sun. So sun is the first thing to start with. Monday is the moon. Tuesday is Mars. Wednesday is Mercury. Thursday is Jupiter. Friday is Venus. And Saturday is Saturn. These are the 7 things are known, and there is uniformity throughout the world that 7 days are accepted by north, east, south, east. There is no difference at all. Basically, why? The question is, these are only 7 planets which move in the earth, in the universe, which every human being on the earth can see. That's it. And there is no confusion at all, because no other subject you see moving so fast on to day-to-day basis. And this movement can be seen by a people without even looking through a telescope or otherwise. Now come to the question of same thing in astrology is also based on the same 7 numbers. In this particular, as you can see, sun has got only 1 Rashi, moon has got 1 Rashi. Other of them have got 2 Rashis. So 5 into 2, 10 plus 2 is 12 Rashis, and I think that thing stands out very well. This is also uniformly accepted in the east, west, north and south. There is no confusion in Indian astronomy or the Western astronomy or the scientific astronomy. There is consistency. I think that shows how beautiful is the knowledge. Then come to the question of periodic table, and I say that beautiful thing in this, there are 7 periods only. Red picture you can see right from hydrogen right up to that, 7, only 7 period, not more than 7. And then the groups wise, there have 2 groups in the first one, 10 in the second, 18, and then 36, 54, 72, 90, 108 goes on in the same process. Now comes to the question. I said you missing number is 3, 6 and 9. Now you are going to see the beauty of how I was explained why 3, 6 and 9 is important. Now in the same picture which I had made first, now one triangle which is male triangle going up is placed between 3, 6 and 9. You can see it very clearly. Now all the 9 centers are connected completely, and this picture is very important, and this is a Western concept. Now I can understand. Nicholas Tesla said that if you want to know nature, you got to know 3, 6 and 9, and I would give him 100% marks, because he knew very well divine number is 3, 6 and 9, but that number is with respect to male father in the God, which Christians understand. Now I am going with the empirical, the concept of Western psychology. Well-known Western Enneagram symbol exactly is like this, and they find it because they only understand male triangle, God only as a male part, nothing more than that. I think that number brings it to this picture, number 10 by and large. But then missing divine mother is missing. India is the only one Sanatana Dharma which importance is given more to the mother than to the father. And I am very sorry to say the respect, regard which girls and women get in India as a prefix, and then father only next, husband only next, everything next. I think the greatest contribution on spiritual science to the world, and I want every mother, every daughter to be given much more importance than that, because she deserves. But unfortunately, we are making mothers suffer in the process of compromising everything for the sake of the family and others, which is definitely, unless until we have healthy girls and mothers, the society will not be healthy. And I am very clear, importance in my mind is always to the girls, girls and girls, women, 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 and that's it. Now keeping that picture, I have put the counter of the male triangle as a female triangle in this particular picture, and put 10, 11 and 12 points created in the process. I think that was the greatest picture which I think has made me understand the beauty of divine mathematics. And what was 5, then 7, now become 10-sided in the center. I think we are slowly moving towards 10 stages of development in this particular process. I think that is amazing. Now come to the question of the impeccable concept of Indian psychology. Importance of male and female, both are important. Without male, female is not complete. Without female, male is not complete. That balance of male and female together as such is a respect for every perfect human. I, as a Shiv Bhushan Sharma, know very well. With me, I have both the left side of the brain, which is male, and the right side of the brain, which is female. Both work together. That's the reason I'm into the universal consciousness. And that process should also be in girls, that also in everybody. Anybody who's in tune with Antaratma would have balance of left and right brain, and all the 64 arts and sciences will be known to that person, because you are flowing with the nature of Aditi itself. Now come to the question. This is the picture which I was made in 1997 as a Vigyan Chakra, and there are 52 petals in this particular thing. I think that was an amazing thing. It's a new chakra which appeared, not 7 chakras, but Vigyan. Between Gyan and Sahasrara Chakra, Vigyan was the first one which was released. I think amazing. And this picture is there. Now what I understood with that, the Sanskrit language, which is the best divine language, Devanagari, has 52 letters. First you can see right on top you have 16. then you have 25, and then you have 11. 11, 16 and 25 are in Deviant ratio only. Now come to the question of the next part, which is there inside that, which I want to explain. You have talked about 0, Earth, Moon, everything. Net 7 we have not. Now we are going to see the first circle outside the 7 and 1 are the 13 numbers. Actually they are not 13, they are 5 plus 8. That is the divine mathematician who wrote. He's put 13, he did not put 13 as such. He knew very well he's putting 5 plus 8. This 5 and plate is called Deviant ratio as Fibonacci sequence or Deviant sequence as such is the beginning part. And entire universe, all the perfect objects are designed according to Deviant and Deviant ratio, Deviant sequence, Deviant infinity, etc. I think that is the most important part. Now in this particular thing you can see Fibonacci sequence which was given, that is 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. So you see 5, 8 and 13, all that are part of that particular thing, and this was not done by Fibonacci. And the third number is the addition of the two numbers, and this was discovered or conceived by Pingala in Bharat in 450 BC, that means 2500 years ago. He called it Misraucher, the two numbers are mixed. Virvanka 700 AD called it variation of thing. Leonardo of Pisa or Fibonacci explained it in 1202 AD, but he called it Indian only. But the real beauty is you see a golden ratio of 1.618, because all these numbers when closed, the closest common number is 1.618, and that is what are the things given as a golden ratio, and we'll talk about it later. Now 7 levels you can see in the tree, the plant kingdom very clearly. You have one trunk, first branch, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, right up to 21, same number goes on. I think this is a beautiful picture on the internet. I think whosoever has done shown how exactly the nature perfection works even in the plant kingdom, in the growth itself, and that is where you see this in the plant kingdom more than you see in any other concept. Now come to the question of the next stage. There are 29 petals, and I make it very clear it's not 29 petals, it is 3 plus 5 plus 8 plus 13. And 3, 5, 8 and 13 is again Deviant sequence or Fibonacci sequence equivalent to 29. Why did he make it 29? Is a question which has to be think. He did not use any other number. He very clear. 1 could be Earth, Sun or Moon. 7 are the 7 dimensions, and then Deviant sequence, the way it is structured, length and breadth. Now come to the question of revealing something where Moon is standing out, and I make it very clear. He had the Moon in mind, whosoever designed it, and I'm glad it could be seen that way by me. Now come to the question, lunar month of menstrual cycle is something very, very clear. We know very well that female menstrual cycle is called menstrual cycle because it's connected with the lunar month, and it should meet 29.5 days, not 26 days, which medical people call menstrual cycle, and that follows the system. Now I'm going to show you how this particular picture made me realize the significance of perfect female menstrual cycle much more clearly. Now come to the question. This is the commonly seen picture of menstrual cycle taught to A to Z in every medical student throughout the world is this. It talks of only 3 phases. 5 days of bleeding, 8 days of proliferation, ovulation and 30 days of excretion. Nothing other than this spoken anywhere in the world, and is the most defective thing ever taught in that. That means entire medical profession through the world does not even know what is a perfect menstrual cycle. It's a pathetic state of affairs. Now I am going to show you the perfect one. Perfect menstrual cycle, which I revealed after Devine in 2015, is that is 3 days before bleeding for 5 days starts. There are most important part, that is phase 1, when 10 cohorts start in the ovaries, when hypothalamus starts GnRH, then anterior pituitary gives follicular stimulating luteinizing hormone, and ovaries give estrogen and progesterone, etc. At the same time, endometrium starts a new basilar layer as such. These are so many changes along the premenstrual tension, anxiety, neurosis. So important phases 3 days happen, and no medical person who's a researcher otherwise even dreamt of it. I'm sorry to say people have not even used their mind to understand the nature working. Then what kind of mathematics, what kind of medical science, what kind of this is all about? We need to correct it so that every child understands that actual ovulation starts 3 days before bleeding, not before that, and every process. I think that is very clear. After that, 5 days is no question. Then 8 days of proliferation is no question. Then ovulation. But then 13 days also divided into 8 plus 5. First 8 days are done with the corpus luteum, preparing the corpus luteum for pregnancy. If pregnancy does not take place, then signal goes to that pregnancy is not taken. Hypothalamus, you stop. Anterior pituitary stop. You stop all the thing. Then fall down. When fall down for next 5 days, you get corpus albicans, and then you start the 3 days of process again. 3, 5, 8, 8, 5, 3. This is a perfect design, and that's how we should teach mathematics to every subject. Only then we can have the perfect wisdom, otherwise not at all possible. Now with that, I am going to give another divine of the symbol. The sun, the mother and earth, 3 things which stand out in that. Also I told you 108 things stand out. That is where 9 into 12 Rashi is also 108. Whole process is also 108. There are 100 earths can rest on the sun's surface. You can see the picture on the right side very clearly. 108 suns between sun and mother earth also you can see, and 108 moons between mother earth. I think this is the most beautiful thing, divine nature. And once you understand this kind of mathematics is there, and this picture is done by NASA with all the concentration, contemplation, everything perfectly, and once that is done, I think we are very close to nature. Now you can understand one symbol which nobody could answer. How much of wisdom is there in divine mathematics? I have shown it, and this is just a fraction of what I have spoken. There is much more in that which we'll discuss, because I would like to restrict the videos to the lesser rate. Even this is becoming longer. So anyway, all that is there. So thank you very much. I think we should start using the divine mathematics to understand every concept very clearly. Thank you, thank you, thank you.